When you and your colleagues made that video, were there specific, potentially illegal orders that you were thinking about that were the sort of precipitating cause for you guys to get together and do that?
Here's the thing, Rachel. You don't want to wait for your kid to get hit by a car before you tell them to look both ways.
I talked to two CIA officers who said that this is a part of a larger hoax, and what they're doing here is they're trying to condition the country to prepare for something bad that's about to happen at the hands of Donald Trump. It's straight out of the CIA playbook. It's a destabilization operation where you get people to mistrust each other.
So that's Senator Mark Kelly flashing his medals, flashing the fact that he served in the military and that he does not deserve punishment, that he is above that. He's apparently showing off and saying, you know what? You guys can't do anything to me. So Pete Hegseth, who again is planning a recall and a probe has been launched and launching a probe, is saying, so Captain Kelly, not only did your sedition video intentionally undercut good order and discipline, but you can't even display your uniform correctly. Your medals are out of order and rows reversed. If you are recalled to active duty, it'll start with a uniform inspection because apparently he can't even do this right. So he is in utter terror because of the fact that he's been caught in the seditious six, but especially him, he is now the primary target from the Pentagon. And does he deserve to just be let go? Does he deserve to just say, you know what, I made a mistake? But there is a probe, a launching probe against him in an investigation to be opened by Pete Hegseth. And many people on the left are melting down and saying Pete Hegseth is going to end up going to prison at some point for what he's doing. He cannot do this. The left is absolutely in a meltdown. Breaking: Mark Kelly is under investigation by the U.S. military for fomenting sedition against President Trump. Caroline Leavitt drops a bombshell here on Fox News. You guys got to take a listen to what she says about his future and about what's really going on in the United States of America, where these senators feel because they served in the military, because they served in the CIA, which I broke down a video just last night where I spoke about what Jesse Waters said. He said this is straight up out of the CIA playbook to create chaos in the streets against President Trump and in the military. Take a listen to this.
Well, we believe it's deeply unfortunate that these Democrat senators made this egregious and completely irresponsible statement. And let's be very clear, Martha, these Democrat senators knew exactly what they were doing. It's not a coincidence that all of them have military or national security experience in their background. They were leaning into that experience to try and give a wink and a nod to the 1.3 million active duty service members who serve in our United States Armed Forces and essentially encourage them to defy the orders of their commander-in-chief, which is illegal, by the way. Let me be very clear. Not a single order this president or administration has given to our military has ever been illegal, nor will it ever be. This administration respects and abides by the law, and these officials know it. They are trying to sow chaos and distrust, which is a very dangerous thing to do within the military's ranks. The sanctity of our military respects and relies on law and order in the chain of command. And that's what this administration is trying to say. And that's why the Department of War opened up this investigation against Senator Mark Kelly today.
Yeah. You have to wonder at this point if they retrospectively think this was a good idea or a bad idea, because it doesn't seem to be working the way that they wanted it to. And now they're kind of stepping all over themselves, trying to answer the question of what they were talking about in the first place. But, you know, you make a good point that it sows, they were hoping to sort of sow this distrust. Go ahead,
they can't answer the question, Martha, because there is no answer. They can't identify illegal orders because there are no illegal orders. But they were suggesting, again, to the 1.3 million active duty service members in the military today that if you think an order is illegal, you don't have to follow it. Actually, that's against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It explicitly states, and I want to read this language precisely, that service members have a legal obligation under the U.S. UCMJ to obey obey lawful orders and that orders are presumed to be lawful. You can't have a soldier out on the battlefield or conducting a classified order questioning whether that order is lawful or whether they should follow through. There must be a chain of command in our military, and Republicans and Democrats for decades, since the beginning of our country, have always respected that until now, when the Democrat Party has been completely overtaken by Trump derangement syndrome. And now we have these deranged statements from sitting members of Congress.
Senator Mark Kelly and the other senators, the other Congress, by the way, it's not just them saying it. There's a bunch of people other than the senators that are feeling this, that were supporting this, that were sharing that video. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with them, but I do know what's going to happen with Senator Mark Kelly, again, who thinks he's this big, tough guy. Well, now he's going face to face with the Department of War. And of course, here it is, Brayton, Department of War considering recalling Senator Mark Kelly to active duty for court-martial proceedings after he encouraged U.S. troops to defy orders from Trump and Hegseth. This is huge. This is the statement that was read. You guys can go look the statement up, but it's an in-depth statement as to what codes that he violate. Of course, that he remains subject to the UCMJ for applicable offenses. So this is getting pretty insane. Of course, this is also the video right here that you guys can go watch. For those who probably didn't see it, I'll play some of it because this is where it all started. They were going on thinking that this right here seems and it screams CIA. It screams failed operation. It screams that they want chaos in the streets. That's what it screams. And I'm going to play some of it. And I'm also going to go over some people who are actively in the military, and also a CNN back and forth between Scott Jennings, where he is literally reprimanding any Democrat who literally cannot see how this was seditious.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military.
But that trust is at risk. That is what said. This is what they're doing. They are saying that the trust is at risk. Like us, you all swore an oath. And again, they were asked, you can refuse illegal orders. That's what they were saying. But again, what was the illegal order? They went on CNN, MSNBC, CNBC. They've gone everywhere. Not CNBC, but they've gone to ABC. They've gone everywhere, and they still can't tell you what specific illegal order triggered them to do this, specifically this video. So here's where things get pretty crazy. CNN, Scott Jennings stuns host, right? Because again, who are the perpetrators of this? Who is pushing this? It's the mainstream liberal media of course, as always. So host, who is worried that the FBI and Pentagon investigating 6 seditious Democrats who demanded rebellion from the military, say that it's a slippery slope toward weaponization, right? So not only is Mark Kelly having he had a meltdown. He was all over X explaining to America, by the way, not having his medals in order is actually pretty crazy. But he was explaining to America his history in combat, how he had a missile blow up next to his jet, and he flew the anti-aircraft fire to drop bombs on enemy targets at NASA. He says, I launched on a rocket, commanded the space shuttle, and he keep claiming all these things that he's done as if he's above some type of law that says that I can just tell people to, again, not follow these orders. And again, you know exactly what they're doing. But then the other side of this is the same arguments that you are about to hear here on CNN, right? Because I got to play this for you guys. On CNN, and like everywhere else, they're saying that there is going to be hell to pay from Pete Hegseth because of what he is doing to Senator Mark Kelly. Many Democrats are saying they can't wait to be back in power. That's another conversation that I think that we can definitely talk about in the future, how Democrats are planning already to win the midterms and eventually win the presidency in 2028 to make sure that they can put to trial a lot of these, the Trump administration, Pete Hegseth and many people in the Trump administration, they can get back and never let this happen. So that's kind of like the other side. But here we go. Let's see. This back and forth is very important.
Perhaps it goes farther than he often does.
An administration investigating members of Congress? Are you describing Operation Arctic Frost to me, or are we talking about current events? I hear you.
I'm talking about a video, Scott,
Okay.
right? Like you put a video out. Okay.
Defending it? No, I'm saying, she said that power changes hands, and I assume what you meant was that you shudder to think what would happen when Democrats
no, I mean that
they
if
already
Democrats
have
are in power and there are Republicans who are making political videos, right? Are they going to use the FBI to investigate them too, right?
Here's what I think.
What?
Here's what I think. Plenty of Republicans are outraged about this. This video was clearly designed to try to create a narrative among the American people that the president had been or was about to give illegal orders. And it appears to me that it all has to do with what he's doing with Venezuela. That seems to be what they're mad about, although they did ask Alyssa Slotkin on TV, and she cited a Hollywood movie to rationalize or justify what she had done. I don't know what the truth is about these interviews, and I don't know if they'll ever be compelled to do it or not. But I do know whether Republicans are circumspect about the law enforcement angle here. Most Republicans I know are pretty darn angry that Democrats made an irresponsible public statement trying to tell the American people that the commander-in-chief had been or was about to give illegal orders.
I'm making a distinction between the creation of the video and whether Republicans are mad about that or think that it was a bad idea, and the idea that the president of the United States is going to use the Pentagon and the FBI to go after sitting members of Congress for basically talking.
Well, I agree with you. Some Republicans have been circumspect about that. Others that I've heard say, if there's something here, it ought to be looked into. But I'm going to give you the political analysis, which is most Republicans that I've heard from on this and hear about on it are very, very angry that these Democrats did something this irresponsible.
Can I move?
And by irresponsible, it's just pretty much they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing and what they were trying to spark. Now you have a right versus left. So at the end of the day, it still kind of worked for them, right? Because they caused mass hysteria coming from the left now, saying that, oh my God, they're trying to jail and recall a sitting senator for words. Really? This is crazy. And I want to show you this video here from Bill O'Reilly here on News Nation. Hear what he had to say about this.
I think the whole thing is contrived. I'm disappointed with Senator Kelly. I think that he made a huge mistake by getting involved with this ridiculous charade. You don't, if you're a responsible legislator, you don't make things up. So if you don't have an illegal order, then why are you talking about an illegal order? For what? What is the reason? There's only one: to embarrass Trump, to whip up hatred against Trump. That's why they did it. Of course, I guess they didn't have anything else to do on Monday. I don't know. But why would Kelly, who has a distinguished record, both in the military and in Congress, why would he be part of it? What's the upside? And then when all hell breaks loose, you weren't expecting that backlash? I think.
Yeah, I think Bill O'Reilly said it best. Bill O'Reilly said it best. Why did you do it? There had to have been some type of motive behind a sitting Democrat senator, and all of them, really all of them. What was the reasoning? Like, give us a prime example. Like, what is it that you're worried about? And then we can debate on that and say, you know what? Okay, this is an illegal order. So then then you take the precautionary, measures, right? But there was no measures taken because there was no actual order. So that says Bill O'Reilly. So I want to show you one last clip here. This coming from Turning Point, World America's Voice. I thought this was very, very interesting about what they said about Mark Kelly.
What Senator Mark Kelly is doing here by wink, wink, nod, nod to 18-year-old military enlistees to decide what orders of the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, are lawful versus unlawful, and then to ignore what these 18-year-old enlistees think are unlawful orders of the President of the United States. You cannot get more dangerous than this. That is interfering with the chain of commands. Mark Kelly is trying to portray himself as some noble hero. He's trying to portray himself as some victim when he got called out on it. He should absolutely get court-martialed and held accountable for this. And he can raise his congressional speech or debate clause arguments for his defense, whatever he needs to do, but they need to make an example out of this guy.
And that there it is. He actually ended up going on Rachel Maddow's show, melting down about this. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is crazy, because the arguments that I'm seeing and the meltdowns that I'm seeing is as if something bad is happening to Mark Kelly and we must defend him. And then you have the right saying this dude needs to go, he needs to be court-martialed. So again, he is in utter terror, trying to show off his medals, letting Americans know how much of a hero he really is, versus the fact that the right is saying, wait a minute, this is sedition. This is crazy. You are making, like, what are you doing? So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down in the comments. This is a developing story, so there's going to be more updates. Make sure to subscribe to later on as to what is going to happen and what the left is going to continue to say versus what the right is going to continue to say on this specific issue. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you guys on the next one.